Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kaylani with the OK Homemaker. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 reasons to get your kids involved in the kitchen. This is something I'm pretty passionate about. It's definitely something that we practice in our home. I always have kids tagging along with everything I do, especially in the kitchen. So I can't even imagine if I didn't have my kids along with me through at least some of that time. That's a lot of time that I just wouldn't be spending with my children and being able to pour into them as well. So it's definitely something that I like to do a lot. I'm not saying I always do it. I definitely treasure those times when I can be alone in the kitchen, uninterrupted. Baking, I love to bake and cook and make meals, and I will admit that it is easier to do it without children sometimes. But this is my life, and I love my children, and I love my life, and I love doing life with my children. So let's jump in. Reason number 1, it's a great opportunity for character building. Like I just said, spending time in the kitchen. We eat at least 3 meals a day if you're not including snacks. And that's a lot of time that is in the kitchen, whether it's prepping food or cleaning the kitchen, that I wouldn't get to spend with my children otherwise. So it's a great opportunity to build character. When we're all working as a team, there's a lot of character development that happens with teamwork and patience, how to be a leader, how to be a follower, when to be a leader. We are a homeschool family, but one of the things that I want to teach my children the most is actually character. Like, I want them to be good people, good adults. So if everything else fails in their life, they're still going to be a good person. Hopefully that means they will have found themselves a good spouse, because if they're not a good person and they're not showing good character, then the chances of them also getting a spouse that's not so great, I don't even want to think about it. If you think about like diligence, getting the job done, doing it correctly, following through, all of those things are very important, and there's almost no better place to learn that than in the kitchen. I basically have 2 places where I always want my kids. I want them outside learning or in the kitchen learning. And if nothing else happens besides those 2 things in the day, we've had a pretty good day still. All right, reason number 2. It gives your kids life experience and life skills. So I talked about character being like one of the number 1 things to teach my children. Life skills is probably number 2. I'm a mom. You can't just say number 2 willy-nilly. Life skills is probably the second most important thing in our family. Like, if they're good people and they know how to do life, who can stop them? It's just a great opportunity to teach life skills. I want my children to be capable in the kitchen, and this doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. I'm a homemaker, and often the kitchen duties fall on me and not my husband. But if you get married right out of high school and you go right from your mommy's house to your wife's house, you might not have a problem. But that's not really realistic, and even that's not realistic. I'm not doing all of the kitchen duties all of the time. In fact, like when I'm sick or pregnant, this is a burden that is easily handed off to my husband, and I don't have to worry about it. It just doesn't make sense. I know there's still a lingering stereotype about women in the kitchen, but that's just not realistic for life. So it's definitely a skill that you want your children to have. All right, reason number 3, academic skills. So academic skills are really important, and I feel like I'm probably getting a little flack because we are a homeschool family, and I probably rank academic skills as 3rd on my list if I was ranking them. They're all important, and I definitely think that my kids should have good academic skills. But if you alone have academic skills, but you don't have life skills and good character, you're not going to get very far. Like, great, you did all of the training in this field, and now you're also a terrible person, and nobody wants to work with you, and no one wants to hire you, and you can't take care of yourself or do basic entry-level job requirements. No. Academic skills are very important, though, and you achieve a lot of them in the kitchen. As you can imagine, every time you open up a cookbook and you look at a recipe, there's a lot of math. Think about quarter cup, half a cup, quarter teaspoon, eighth of a teaspoon, how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon. Lots of math and converting to make it work for the recipe. There's reading, there's science. Baking is a science. There's art, and there's vocabulary. There's so much vocabulary when you're working in the kitchen, and that's a good place to slip that in for your children. So my children are still pretty little. I have 4 children, 8 and under. The oldest 3 all help in the kitchen at some point, and even if it's cleaning up in the kitchen, that's still a very important skill to have, to be able to clean, know how to clean thoroughly the right way. We're still working on that one. It's definitely something that I like to start early on, as early as they're interested, and they get interested pretty early. But I think if your kids are older, it's not too late, because like I said, if you're lacking in one of these areas, even like character or something, and you want your child's heart, I think that there's no better place to do it than in the kitchen, hands-on creating something. So reason number 4 is confidence. Having skills in the kitchen gives your children so much confidence. They love to look at the work that they've done. They're so proud of what they've done. And in the kitchen is one of those few places, like you can get this outside a lot with things that they're building and doing, but the kitchen skills just grow so quickly, and it's something that you're always working on, so it's something that you can improve on greatly. So even if your child goes from like, hey, I made this toast all by myself, to, you know, hey, I baked this cake all by myself. There's just so many skills that just grow upon themselves, and it gives them so much confidence that I want my children to have going into life, knowing that they can succeed, that they will fail, but they'll know how to fix it. You do all of these things in the kitchen. I just love the kitchen. I don't know if you can tell. I love the kitchen, and I love doing things in the kitchen with my kids. All right, reason number 5. It teaches your children healthy habits. And I definitely want to teach my children healthy habits. If you think back on your childhood, on those childhood memories, a bowl of, say, mac and cheese. Like, that's not terrible, but I want my kids to look back and, like, if those rooted childhood memories are health foods, oh, all the better. You can teach your children healthy habits even just at the meal, talking about your food, which I also encourage, but putting them all together in your meal and talking about how ingredients work together, it opens up a big opportunity to talk about those things. And I have personally found, though I know it doesn't work for everybody, but if you get your children involved in cooking, it seems like they are more willing to and adventurous when trying out new foods, because hey, they made this, of course they want to try it because they helped make it. So that's it. Those are 5 good reasons to get your kids involved in the kitchen. Sometimes, just sometimes, I have to remind myself why I really want them there. And just when you stop and look at all of their learning, it really makes it worth it. And these are some of my favorite times of day, when we're all working together to achieve a task. Even just washing the dishes. If you struggle with wanting to wash the dishes, like, get your kids involved. Even if it gets a little messy and water gets places, it's just water. It's an easy thing to clean up. They love to help, and I just love spending time with them. So this is actually the beginning of a series that I'm doing all about getting your kids involved in the kitchen. So stay tuned. I'm going to be putting out videos all about tips and tricks on how to get them in the kitchen, and then also some good, easy recipes to get them started in the kitchen. And these are good recipes even for you if you're a beginner in the kitchen and you want to start along with your children. These recipes are good for that too. So stay tuned for the rest of this series. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit like, and if you're new here, hit subscribe. And we'll see you next time.